Not all insulation claims are created equal, and most homeowners only hear half the story. Welcome to the Garage Authority podcast powered by A1. I'm your host, Jonathan Phillips, and today we have a very special guest for you. The one and only Cody Graham. How are we doing, brother?
Good, Brother John. How are you doing?
Thank you.
It's good to see you, my friend.
A little bit of background for those of you at home. Being an instructor, I'm going to get real with you. Sometimes when we have students that come through the academy with experience, if you're a coach or if you're a teacher in any sort of specific thing, sometimes people coming with experience in the industry, 31 years?
In December.
Sometimes when you hear a number like that, you get a little nervous because in any profession or talented hobby, there can be bad habits. There can be bad habits, and it can make training really hard as an instructor. And I have to say, there are two students in the academy with a wealth of knowledge to where when they came in, everything that they did in their 30 years is absolutely perfect. And I learned, and it was really nice as an instructor to be a student during those things. The one is Drew, who's been on the podcast before, and now we're finishing up with that second student and one of my favorite technicians in all of A1 and garage doors in the world, and that is Cody.
I appreciate that. You know, I came into that academy. I believe if you're ever going to grow and become better, you have to be humble.
Yeah.
So I came into the academy with I'm ready to learn. With all the things that I do know, let me see what more there is. And I learned a ton. I learned a lot about how to communicate better with my clients. I learned some things about products I didn't even know. I learned about products I didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
So
every day.
even being in something as long as I have been, or anybody in an industry, there's always opportunities to learn and to grow. And I loved my time in the academy. And one of the things I loved most was getting to know you and the trainers, because John, you've become one of my good friends, and somebody that I look up to. So I appreciate the time you spent with me there.
Thank you. That really brings it all together for me. Now, also, what's really interesting about Cody is I don't think I've ever met someone, and whenever people talk about someone that's in a job or they have to communicate with people, sometimes when people are like, this guy can talk to anybody, it's almost a personality type that is overwhelming when you meet those types of people. And I think you're the first type of person, and why I brought you on today. I don't think I've ever seen you have an awkward moment with any one person, no matter age, background, whatever they've gone through in life. And I always see you start with people with the same respect, the same smile, the same warmth. And it makes me completely understand on why you've been so wildly successful. Not only as with your clients, but how much you've given back to like baby technicians that are going out into the field, wherever you take time out of your day to go ride with them, to kind of be like, hey, this is how you communicate with people and this is how you need to talk. And maybe when you're explaining this technical aspect, if we could break it down more to this analogy that's simpler for everybody, I think you're just a world-class master at it. And that's why I wanted to bring you on today, because it's something that we go over so much, and it's garage door insulation and what no one's telling you. Not only the 30 years of experience, but you have this very, very niche skill of taking the most complicated things to where anyone can understand it. So that's why I wanted to bring you on. And I guess the first question, with all your experience and the way you explain things, is what's the biggest myth that you hear about insulation and garage doors?
Well, I think myth and also misunderstanding.
Myth and misunderstanding.
Because everyone thinks insulation is automatically going to make something either warmer or cooler.
Right.
So you get a lot of people that are ask, I want an insulated door because I want my garage to be cooler. So I'll ask them simple questions. Well, what are you going to do in the garage besides an insulated door to change the temperature, the climate in the garage? Are you planning on putting in a mini split air conditioner? Are you planning on insulating the rest of the walls? Because in some states, you don't have to insulate until it touches living space in the house. So like here in Arizona, code is it does not have to be insulated till it hits a living space of the house. So the garage, until it hits that wall to where it goes into the house, there is no insulation. Not in the attic, not in the walls around, unless you get to that builder first and have it done. Code is insulated when it hits living space.
You just blew my mind, and I'm not kidding, because I'm from Kansas City originally. It gets cold there, and it gets really hot, and it gets really humid. We had a leak at my house in Mesa, and I looked in there, and it's in the laundry room right as soon as you go out to the garage. I look up, and it's a leak, and I'm just like, okay, well, the garage access just right on the other side. I'll just crawl up through there and stop that leak real quick. And I open the top of my garage, and I look over, and it's angled all the way, and it's blocked off. And I was like, why did they do that? The access is right there. So now I had to go to the other side of the house
And work your way in.
and work my way in. And now this makes sense on roof doesn't have to be insulated
That's right.
in that part, and they blocked it off to where it was exactly going to the house.
They will shear wall it and then
Yeah.
insulate from the point that it touches living space.
That is amazing.
So in some markets and in some climates, there's a lot of things you'd have to do. One of the biggest myths and misunderstandings is that it will automatically change the temperature dramatically in your garage. But I also tell people too, well, say the AC goes out in your house and the rest of your house is insulated. Is it going to stay cold in the house? And they're like, well, no, it's going to heat up. The same thing will happen here. So if you're expecting a dramatic change without adding something else that's going to change that temperature in the garage,
Right.
you'll get a 5 or 10 degree difference. Don't get me wrong, it works, because if not, you're dealing with a frying pan.
Right.
Just like if you put a frying pan on the stove and heat it up, it's going to get hot. A garage door is thin metal. When the sun hits it, it's going to heat up. There are times where I've taken a temperature gun, and it'll be 175, 200 degrees on the outside when the sun's hitting a garage door. Without something to buffer that heat, it just comes right through. Insulation is what becomes that buffer. It slows down the heat transfer, and it keeps as much heat as it can from transferring in. Now, will it change your garage to 74 degrees just by putting on an insulated door? No, not unless you're going to climate control that garage.
Right. I think the worst one that I've ever seen on a pan door is a guy had a garage that was just packed. And, it's really taboo for us to pack everything around the tracks.
Oh, all the time.
Around a door. And he had a tent. And what happened was it was a pan door, and it got so hot that the tent with the poly in it melted and adhered to it.
Yep.
So when he opened the door, the tent went with it in the bag, and then it got all wrapped up in the cable and the drum. So when I go to the call was because the door was hung. I go to the door, and it looked like, I was like, why is there a parachute just mixed up and everything? And then slowly but surely figure out it's a giant camping tent that melted to the door.
It'll get that hot.
Yeah.
It will get to the point where if you touch it, it will burn you.
Yeah, that's
And that's just the fact of the matter, especially the direction your house sits.
right.
A house that faces north doesn't get direct sun, so it doesn't heat up as much. But if you're east, west, or south, which gets it all day long, that door will heat up. That heat's going to transfer into the garage, and that's going to transfer into the house every time you open that door.
It's crazy. So which climate benefits the most with who gets the most benefit depending on their climate for an insulated door?
I think every climate, because
Every climate.
Insulation has different values for different climates. I worked for a garage door manufacturer out of Salt Lake for a decade before I came back home to Arizona. That's where I grew up. And in Utah and Salt Lake area, boy, in the wintertime, it gets cold. And if your car gets snowed on, it will ice up that car for the entire winter. But if you can pull into a garage with an insulated door, it brings that temperature up just enough with the
Just
heat
enough.
off the engine and everything to heat up that garage where you'll actually, it'll melt off the snow off your cars. You don't have to worry about those things. So cold, it definitely will keep it warmer. And in heat, it will definitely keep it cooler. Again, expectations. If you really want it to be cool like your house, you have to climate control it, but it keeps enough of that heat transferring through from that door into the garage to drop that temperature, like I said, 5, 10 degrees.
Yeah.
My wife works out in the garage. My house faces west, and I have an insulated door with a radiant barrier. Before I did, when I bought that house, I had just a pan door on it. Bought that house, changed out the door, but before I changed out that pan door, my kid's bedroom sits above the garage. And again, there's so much that's not insulated until it hits living space. Their bedrooms were boiling hot. Changing that door and putting that insulated door on with that radiant barrier made a huge difference in how comfortable it was in their room and
Right.
keeping the heat out. So it depends on what you're looking for in your climate. Of course, in Arizona, where we're at, greatest place on to live, that's why I'm here again, is you got to keep the heat out. That's our biggest thing. And in cold climates, it's really about keeping it warmer.
Right.
That's just depends on what you're looking for.
Right.
But every climate can benefit from an insulated door. For climate control reasons, for durability and
Right.
strength reasons. I mean, I always say an uninsulated door is like an empty soda can.
Yeah.
You can grab that can and just squeeze it and do whatever you want with it and crush it up. The minute you insulate a door and you sheet it with steel on the back, that becomes like a full soda can. Put that in your hand and try to crush it.
Right.
Good luck.
It's a big deal.
It's a big, big deal. Structural integrity is huge with insulation.
For me personally, that's more important to me than the insulation.
Oh, absolutely.
Is the structural integrity, the fact that, if you got a 16-year-old driver, someone, a permit driver, kids that play sports in the driveway, or just like you do a lot of tough work in your garage, pan door, it doesn't take much for those dents to turn into cracks, and the cracks, they always keep going. But an insulated door, you're going to dent it, you're going to leave a mark, but it's going to be able to stay together a lot better.
Correct.
So I think that's why, to me, insulation is a cherry on top, right?
Yeah.
Now, whenever you got to your radiant barrier door, and you were saying, the kids upstairs, boiling room, did you guys, if you don't mind asking, notice a difference as far as energy bills with that house?
There's always going to be an energy saving no matter what if you're going to insulate something.
Right.
I would say, yeah, especially when we're coming in from the garage into the house. So we have a couple of layers there. We have our garage. We have the door into the house, which is finely insulated. We have the laundry room, then into the house. So we do have a little bit. But yeah, I would say that heat transferring into the house became less.
Right.
Because there was a barrier between all that sun in the evening blasting the front of that house. The garage would be, it would still be 90 degrees in the garage.
Yeah.
Where before it would be 110.
Right.
So
that's a big
that's
difference.
That's a big difference. That's a huge difference. And you can go by those doors in the evening, my door, and you can lean up against it. And it's warm because the air inside the garage is warm. But it will not burn you, and it's not overwhelming to where you think it's gonna harm you or a child or anything if they rub up against it.
Right.
It's fantastic.
Now, whenever you did finally get that, insulated door, for me, I've lived in places that are usually, being in Phoenix, other places that I've lived, high traffic, and especially if you have a garage door that's leaning more towards a high traffic area where a lot of noise comes from, and not to mention just those doors being quieter and function for the kids that are upstairs,
Yes.
right? Yes, we had a boiling room before, but also it was the sound of waking them up as a garage door technician at 5 o'clock in the morning. What do you have to say about those noise canceling aspects with an insulated door?
So when we bought the house we're in now, we weren't paying too much attention to where it was in the neighborhood. We are kind of one of those main thoroughfares, the vein into the neighborhood. And when an insulated door gets put in, it's like putting sound dampening tiles on a wall.
Right.
It really makes a huge difference on what you can hear from the outside to the inside. Enormous difference. And when it functions, again, take an empty soda can and start moving it around and roll it around on the ground, you're going to hear all this metal pinging and clanking and squeaking. With an insulated door, it takes that door and makes it solid. So when it opens and closes, you don't get any of that metal flexing sound. Super quiet. Throw in a nice variable speed opener, and you don't have a noise at all. But yeah, there are times I've been in garages, even when I first got mine, it was loud. You could hear that thing open and close from a mile away. I can hear my neighbor's doors. Four houses down, I can be outside and I can hear their doors open and close. But just from the inside of it, it is tremendously quieter when you have an insulated door than when you don't. Because instead of having just a thin piece of metal, you have your metal, your insulation, and metal again. So you've basically created an insulated wall.
Right.
So you don't hear the noise transfer through.
Eric Parks came on and he put it best when we
Eric
talked.
Parks.
Yeah, he's the man. He's one of those big personalities that
He
I can't
is.
tolerate because he's just so funny all
He
the
is.
time. But he was he's like, just imagine with those pan doors and how they vibrate.
Yeah.
Well, now with the jams, that vibration and through the lags that bolt it to the wall, that vibration is like going into your home. So it's not only a sound thing, you can like feel it in your house. Whenever you have that pan door that's moving quieter and those bolts that are going into the framing of your home, he's like, it's not just like a decibel thing. It's actually like shaking your home.
Yeah,
and
it's
whenever
physical.
you put it's once you have that insulated door on, it's one of those things where you always kind of knew it in your head, but once someone said it out loud, I was like, that's a lot more deep than I thought.
Well, think about it. That is a lot of the time you've got rooms above a garage. It's tied into the floor joists.
Yeah.
That's what it's lagged into. And if there's any vibration or any movement, it is going to resonate through that into the room above it.
Yeah.
So many times, Cody, what can you do to make my door quieter? My kids sleep up here, and every time I leave, they wake up and my wife gets upset.
Yeah.
What can we do? Well, a lot of that is get rid of this pan door, get rid of this old screw drive opener that's been here since I started doing doors in the 90s, and let's put something on that creates less vibration and really significantly reduces that sound. And every time we do and we're done, they're just like, we had no idea doors were supposed to be quiet. People think they're supposed to be loud.
Yeah.
Because they used to be manufactured to, it didn't matter about how quiet it was. Can it get the door up and down? That was all they cared about. But then we've evolved to, hey, we can make this smoother. It can be quieter. It can be something that when it opens, people go, wow, I can't believe how quiet your door is. But it used to just be about getting it up and down. So openers were loud, doors were loud. Rollers, old metal rollers that would just clank through the tracks. Now we have nylon-coated rollers that significantly reduce sound, uninsulated doors. I mean, you go back to how many times you've been to a house that's built in the 70s. Was there an insulated door in the 70s? I don't even think there was, because all of them are just metal pan doors. So not only does it structurally give you more rigidity when a door is insulated and steel back, which is the only way I would do a door, it significantly reduces noise, and boy, does it become a wow factor in your neighborhood. When people come by and you open your door, they stop because they see it moving, but they can't hear it.
It's like watching a Tesla go.
There you go. Yeah. We almost need to get a Tesla sound for
Yeah.
when a door opens, whoa, 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 just so people know it's opening.
That's true. That's why my cue, you got to have the beeps
gotta
on
have
it.
them,
Got to
gotta
have
have
the
it all.
beeps. Got to have the flashing lights. Got to let
That's the
people
truth.
know. Now we've talked about the long-term durability, or
Correct.
alluded to it a little bit. Now we had one clip that many people didn't agree with, and we were talking about that durability and how much that affects the door lasting. Because we have seen, because I've had people that buy doors off of Temu. You know what I mean?
Oh, I have a story.
Yeah, and whenever we say like the worst doors last about 5 years, like I'm talking about those doors that you're finding on a site that's not in English in any facet, and they order it and everything's metric and things just aren't usual. These are the doors we're talking about, finding those doors online, not from an American company for us. And then, I see there are pan doors out there when you go to Amar, Rainer. Yeah, the parts that make it move, you can make it last a long time, and as long as it doesn't get hit or warp and we put struts on it. But that's what we're talking about with like doors that are only gonna last about 5 years, and then you can get doors that last 15, 20, 30 years as long as we keep up on maintenance. How much of a factor is an insulated door in that?
Well, it's a huge factor. Again, we're talking about strength.
Yes.
So I always say, excuse me, when we have a basic builder-grade pan door, they're kind of shaped like this. So you've got the front of the door, and then you have a return lip. Well, every time the weight shifts, that door bends a little bit. So within 5 or so years, it's like taking a paper clip and bending it back and forth. Eventually, that paper clip's going to break. The same thing happens on a pan door. Every time it rests, it deflects. Every time it closes, it comes back out. So that's why you see these pan doors start to collapse right in the middle so often, is because structurally they're designed to last 5 years. There are manufacturers that are designing doors for builders that are designed to go 3 years and then fail, where they're the thinnest metal you can get on the front, like a 32 gauge, and then they glue cardboard to the back for rigidity.
And then I see people also, whenever we make statements like that, they'll go like, well, I've had a door since 1970. It's like, yeah, it's 22 gauge.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like it built
Correct.
it a little thicker back then. I'm talking about when people are trying to buy a new door.
Right now, yes.
The pan door isn't a good option
No.
anymore.
It's a fine option if you're selling the house and you think, I just need to freshen up the front a little bit, because again, garage doors have the highest ROI, and even just a pan door is gonna give it a better smile,
Right.
as we like to say. But if you're looking for longevity, the reason a steel back insulated door works so well is you've taken that open space and you've closed it with steel. So now you have what we call a box strength. And you try to take a box and bend it like that, you aren't going to get that deflection.
Right.
So as it goes up and down structurally, it holds itself so much better than a pan door that's going to constantly be bending a little bit.
Right.
So steel back insulated doors, they're designed to go the long haul. I mean, you'll get 20 years.
Right.
As long as you don't hit it with a car. I always say to my clients, this door will last you forever if you don't hit it with a car.
Yeah, metal's metal. It's
Metal's
just
metal.
Now with, companies and all these other ones, there's good companies. Clopay's great. Amar's
Absolutely.
great. Rayner's great. Haas Door's great. CHI's great. But
Martin doors are great.
Martin doors are great. They really are. When they are not over-engineered.
Correct.
That's it for any of my Martin people out there watching. I'm glad that we're just making doors to good craft. You alluded to something that caught me. You were saying a time when I wouldn't. Can you expand upon a time where you wouldn't?
Do an insulated
yeah,
door?
to not do an insulated.
So there are times where you'll show up to a garage and say it's just a stick frame sheeted garage with plywood, and they put some siding or stucco on the outside. Unless you're looking for longevity, an insulated door on a situation like that would do nothing in regards to temperature control. It would be quieter. But if you're looking for, if what they're looking for is, Cody, I want to make this cooler, there's going to be a longer conversation than just the garage door. There's some things you'll want to do structurally to the garage if you're looking for cooler temperatures, because we can put an insulated door on, but that would just be one wall insulated.
Right.
And you have open studs, and you have a 3/4 inch piece of plywood in between you and the weather outside. So that would be one. If they aren't willing to do the rest, I would say to them, really,
The only point would be longevity at that point.
It would not have any. It would not have any effect on what the temperature would be like in this garage. Yeah. And sometimes too, it's people are just going to be there for a few more months. Yeah. And they are just trying to freshen up the look, and they don't want to put a lot of money into it.
They'll get it back, but maybe that's just not.
But it's just not. And I always tell them, boy, if you really want this house to shine, when they come in and open that garage and you've got a nice quiet garage and quiet garage door opener, that would be the point. I judge builders and homes off of what the garage door is, what door they put in.
Yeah.
I know if it's a good builder by when I walk in and I see what kind of door is in there, because I know that builder cared enough to put something good in. He cared enough to take care of other things in the house too.
Yeah, garage doors are one of the first cut corners.
Yep, always.
For profit.
And it doesn't matter if it's a tract home neighborhood or if it's a $20 million home. That is where they will look to cut budget so that they can put more money in their pocket. But I mean, I try to fill out people and see where they're at. Hey, are you just looking to freshen up the look for a sale? Because if so, and you don't want to put a lot of money into it, a pan door would do that. But if you really want to set your home apart and you're really trying to sell it and get what you can out of it, a steel back insulated door, something that really changes the outside of your house, there's a reason why it's the highest ROI. When people pull up to a house, they're already deciding whether or not they're going to buy the house by how it looks from the outside. I guarantee if I pull up to a house and my wife and I look at it and my wife goes, I don't like the way the house looks on the outside, it won't matter what it looks like on the inside.
Right.
Because she won't even want to go in. Or even look at it and go, well, maybe this might work. If she doesn't like the way it looks on the outside, or I don't like the way it looks on the outside, we're not even going to bother. So it just depends on the circumstances. If they just want to freshen it up, or they're landlords and they're saying, hey, I just got to get this house through another renter, because unfortunately renters aren't as kind as they can be to houses sometimes.
Right.
Then there are times I'd say, a pan door will do you just fine. If you feel like you just need to get down the road a year or two, a pan door will get you down the road a year or two. If you're looking for longevity and you want to keep this system going, an insulated steel back door is what's going to get you down the road 20 years.
That's about as honest as you can get, in my opinion. Dude, we've gone over, myths, misunderstandings, climates, energy bills. Also, I had some notes here about, just noise, long-term, the differences. And to be honest, sometimes maybe the insulated door's not the best option for you. Is there anything else you feel like we didn't cover?
Oh, when it comes to insulation,
Yeah.
I would just say when it comes to insulation, to manage expectations. Because when we think insulation, we think it's going to be cold like the inside of my house, and we forget that it's the AC that makes it cold. It's the insulation that keeps the cold air in.
Right.
So I always try to manage expectations and listen to what people want. Are you looking for a cooler garage? Are you looking for something that's just stronger? Do you feel like it's too noisy outside and you want to keep that noise out? And that way you can help them understand how that insulation works to provide either a cooler climate, quieter environment, or a stronger door. Listening to people is where I really gather the most information on what's important to them.
Right.
I say it all the time, garage doors is what we do, but it's really about people.
Yeah.
And trying to help them. As long as we're trying to help them, then we're able to find a solution and a reason for why they'd want an insulated door. Because it's not always, if I were to go in, this is going to make your garage so much cooler, they're like, we don't care about that.
Right. It's not important.
We want it to be quiet.
Yes.
Oh, okay, well, it does that too.
Yeah.
So asking them, why is it you want an insulated door? And then saying, well, this is how that will help you.
Brother, absolutely beautiful. I can't thank you enough for coming on to the show.
Great to be here again. I love you.
Love you too, man.